The desert burial. The crimson sands of Kepler 442b stretched endlessly beneath the scorching heat of its binary stars. Marcus Chen wiped sweat from his brow as he navigated his beaten cargo hauler across the wasteland. 3 years since humanity established its first colony on this alien world, and Marcus still found himself alone most days, trading supplies between human settlements and the occasional brave soul willing to venture into the frontier. His wife Sarah had died 2 years ago during a sandstorm, leaving him to raise their twin boys, Alex and Sam, alone. The boys, now 10 years old, waited for him back at their isolated homestead, probably getting into trouble despite the strict instructions he'd left with the household AI. Marcus smiled at the thought. Those boys were his whole universe now, the only reason he kept pushing through each day in this unforgiving landscape. The scanner on his dashboard began beeping. Marcus frowned, adjusting the frequency. The readings showed life signs ahead, multiple ones, arranged in an unusual pattern. Not a settlement or convoy, something else. His curiosity piqued. Marcus altered course slightly, heading toward a ridge that would give him a better view. What he saw below made his blood run cold. A group of Zephyrians, the planet's native species, stood in a perfect circle. Their tall, willowy forms cast long shadows on the sand. Their skin, which normally shimmered like polished copper in the sunlight, seemed dulled with ceremonial ash. In the center of their circle, Marcus could barely make out what appeared to be a head protruding from the sand. Marcus grabbed his binoculars, zooming in on the scene. The head belonged to a female Zephyrian, her amber eyes wide with terror. The sand around her neck was packed tight, and Marcus realized with horror that she had been buried alive. The other Zephyrians were chanting in their melodious language, their four-fingered hands moving in ritualistic gestures. He knew about Zephyrian culture from his trading encounters. They were an ancient species, far older than humanity, with strict social codes that governed every aspect of their lives. Population control was sacred to them. On a desert planet with limited resources, they believed only the fertile should consume what little the world offered. Those who couldn't reproduce were considered burdens, drains on their society's future. The chanting stopped. The elder Zephyrian, distinguished by the intricate scarification covering his elongated skull, spoke words that carried on the wind. Even without understanding the language, Marcus recognized the finality in the tone. One by one, the Zephyrians turned and walked toward their sand skimmers, leaving the buried female behind. Marcus watched them disappear over the horizon, his mind racing. The woman would be dead by nightfall. The planet's nocturnal predators, the razor-toothed sand prowlers, would emerge from their underground burrows. They could smell fear and blood from miles away. She wouldn't stand a chance. He should leave. This wasn't his problem. The Zephyrians didn't take kindly to outsiders interfering with their traditions. If they discovered he'd disrupted their ritual, they'd hunt him down. He had 2 boys depending on him. He couldn't afford to play hero. But as Marcus looked through his binoculars again, he saw the female's lips moving. She was singing. Even facing certain death, she was singing what sounded like a lament, her voice carrying across the desert like a ghost's whisper. Something about that voice, that refusal to surrender to despair, struck something deep within Marcus. "Damn it," he muttered, already plotting a rescue route. Marcus waited until the Zephyrian vehicles were completely out of sight before descending the ridge. He approached cautiously, weapon drawn but held low. The female's amber eyes tracked his movement, a mixture of fear and hope flickering in them. "Human," she whispered, in accented English. The Zephyrians had learned humanity's common tongue quickly, after first contact. "You should not be here." "Yeah, well, I've always been bad at following rules," Marcus replied, pulling out his collapsible shovel. "What's your name?" "I am Liara Vistaran," she said, her voice cracking from dehydration. "Or I was. The condemned have no names. Well, Liara, I'm Marcus, and right now I'm your only chance of surviving this." He began digging carefully around her, mindful of potentially injuring her with the tool. "Why did they do this to you?" I'm broken, Liara said simply. 3 years of marriage, no offspring. The healers confirmed my sterility. In our society, this is the greatest shame. I consume resources but cannot contribute to our future. Marcus paused in his digging. That's the most backward thing I've ever heard, and I've heard some pretty stupid stuff in my time. You do not understand our ways, human. I understand enough to know that a person's worth isn't determined by their ability to have children. Marcus resumed digging with renewed vigor. My wife couldn't have more kids after our twins were born. Complications during delivery. Did that make her worthless? Hell no. She was the smartest, kindest person I ever knew. Liara fell silent, processing his words. The sand was packed harder than Marcus expected, and his arms began to ache. In the distance, he heard the first howls of the sand prowlers awakening. The binary stars were beginning their descent toward the horizon, painting the desert in shades of purple and gold. They're coming, Liara said, her voice tight with fear. I know. Just hold on. Marcus dug faster, finally freeing her arms. She immediately began helping, pushing sand away with her 4-fingered hands. Together they worked to free her torso, then her legs. When she was finally free, Liara tried to stand but immediately collapsed. Her legs, compressed for hours, had lost all feeling. Without hesitation, Marcus scooped her up. She was surprisingly light despite being nearly 7 feet tall, her hollow bones an evolutionary adaptation to the planet's slightly lower gravity. Her copper skin felt cool against his arms, and he noticed intricate natural patterns that seemed to shift and swirl like living art. Your vehicle? She asked weakly. Just over that ridge. Hold on tight. Marcus ran as fast as he could while carrying her, his boots sinking into the soft sand with each step. Behind them, the howls grew louder, closer. The sand prowlers had caught their scent. Marcus could hear them now, their clawed feet scratching against the harder-packed sand as they pursued. They crested the ridge just as the first sand prowler appeared behind them. The creature was a nightmare of evolution, all teeth and claws and hunger. Marcus practically threw Liara into the cargo hauler's passenger seat before jumping into the driver's side. The engine roared to life just as 3 more prowlers appeared. Go, 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 Liara shouted. Marcus slammed the accelerator, sending the vehicle lurching forward. In the rearview mirror, he watched the sand prowlers give chase for a few moments before falling back, unwilling to pursue prey that moved so fast. They drove in silence for several minutes, both catching their breath. Finally, Liara spoke. You have endangered yourself for a stranger, for someone your own kind would call an alien. Why? Marcus glanced at her. Because it was the right thing to do. Because no one deserves to die alone and afraid in the desert. Because, he paused, choosing his words carefully. Because I've lost someone I loved, and I know what it's like to feel worthless. But you're not worthless, Liara. No one is. Liara's amber eyes shimmered with what Marcus realized were tears. Where will you take me? I cannot return to my people. I am dead to them now. My homestead, for starters. We'll figure out the rest later. You have family? 2 boys, twins. They're going to have a lot of questions when they see you. And you trust me around your offspring? Marcus smiled slightly. Lady, you were just buried up to your neck in sand and left to die. I don't think you're in any position to be a threat. Besides, the boys have been begging me to bring home something interesting from my trips. I'd say you qualify. As they drove through the darkening desert, neither of them noticed the Zephyrian tracking device blinking steadily beneath the sand where Liara had been buried. The elders had expected her to die, but they always verified. The signal showing movement in an unexpected direction would soon reach them, and they would know their ritual had been violated. But for now, Marcus and Liara rode toward the human homestead, toward an uncertain future, toward a collision of 2 cultures that would change both their lives forever. The binary stars finally dipped below the horizon, leaving only the ghostly light of 3 moons to guide their way through the crimson wasteland. Sanctuary and consequences. The Chen homestead appeared as a cluster of interconnected domes against the star-filled sky. Solar panels and moisture collectors dotted the structure like mechanical flowers. Marcus had built it himself over the course of a year, each dome serving a different purpose: living quarters, greenhouse, workshop, and storage. It wasn't much, but it was home. As the cargo hauler approached, the security lights flickered on, bathing the area in warm yellow light. Through the transparent aluminum windows of the main dome, Marcus could see two small figures jumping up and down excitedly. "Your offspring seem energetic," Liara observed, her voice stronger now after drinking 2 full bottles of water during the drive. "They usually are when I come home, though they're going to be extra excited when they see you." Marcus was right. The moment he opened the vehicle door, Alex and Sam came running out, their voices overlapping in rapid-fire questions that stopped abruptly when they saw Liara. "Whoa," Alex breathed, his eyes wide. "Dad brought home an alien," Sam exclaimed, bouncing on his toes. "Boys, this is Liara. She's going to be staying with us for a while." "Liara, these are my sons, Alex and Sam." Liara slowly emerged from the vehicle, having regained some strength in her legs. She towered over the boys, who stared up at her in awe. Carefully, she lowered herself to one knee, bringing herself closer to their eye level. "Greetings, young humans," she said formally, then tilted her head. "I am told this is how your species shows respect to children." "You talk funny," Sam said, bluntly. "Sam," Marcus scolded, but Liara made a sound that Marcus realized was laughter, melodious and strange. "You are correct, small one. I do speak your language strangely. Perhaps you could help me improve." "Can you teach us your language?" Alex asked eagerly. "If your father permits it." Marcus herded everyone inside, acutely aware that Liara was still weak and needed rest. The boys peppered her with questions as he prepared a simple meal. What did she eat? Mostly the same things humans did, thankfully. Where did she come from? A city far to the north. Why was her skin copper-colored? Evolution and adaptation to the binary star's radiation. Marcus didn't tell them the real reason she was here. Not yet. They were too young to understand the cruelty of what had been done to her. After dinner, Marcus set up a bed for Liara in the greenhouse dome, where the warm, humid air would be most comfortable for her. The boys protested when he sent them to bed, wanting to stay up and talk to their new friend. "She'll still be here tomorrow," Marcus promised, tucking them in. "Dad?" Alex said quietly. "Is she in trouble?" Marcus paused. His boys were perceptive. "Yes, but we're going to help her. That's what good people do." Later that night, Marcus found Liara standing by the greenhouse windows, staring out at the desert. The 3 moons cast everything in silver light. "You're wondering if they'll come for me," she said without turning around. "Will they?" "Perhaps. The Zephyrian Council does not like loose ends, and a human harboring a condemned criminal would be seen as a grave insult." Marcus moved to stand beside her. "Let them come. This is human territory. They have no authority here." "You would risk war between our species for one sterile female?" "I'd risk a lot more to do what's right." Marcus turned to face her. "Look, I don't know what tomorrow brings, but you're safe here tonight. That's what matters." Liara was quiet for a moment. "Your wife, the one who could not bear more children, you loved her still?" "With everything I had. That is not the Zephyrian way. Maybe it should be." The next morning brought unexpected visitors. Marcus was working on the moisture collectors when his proximity alarms went off. 3 Zephyrian sand skimmers approached from the north, moving fast. His blood ran cold. "Boys, stay inside," he called, then to Liara, who had been helping him with repairs. "They're here." Liara's copper skin paled to a dull bronze. "I will not let them harm you or your children. Nobody's harming anybody if I can help it." The skimmers stopped just outside the homestead's perimeter. 5 Zephyrians emerged, led by the same elder who had overseen Liara's burial. His scarified head gleamed in the morning light. "Human Marcus Chen," the elder said, his English perfect but cold. "You have interfered with sacred Zephyrian law." "I saved a person's life," Marcus replied, standing his ground. "You saved a condemned criminal. Return her to us and we will overlook this transgression." "No." The elder's 4 eyes narrowed. You would risk the peace between our species for this worthless female? She's not worthless, a young voice piped up. Marcus turned to see Alex and Sam had snuck outside, standing defiantly beside Liara. She taught us 3 words in Zephyrian already, Sam added. And she fixed our water recycler, Alex said. Mom couldn't even fix that. The elder looked at the human children with what might have been confusion. Young ones, you do not understand. This female cannot contribute offspring to society. She is a drain on resources. So, Alex challenged, Uncle Pete back at the colony can't have kids either. He had an accident, but he's the best doctor we have. He saves lives all the time. And Mrs. Martinez is too old to have babies, Sam added. But she teaches all the kids. She's super important. Marcus felt a surge of pride for his boys. They got it. They understood what the Zephyrians didn't. Elder Thosvar, Liara stepped forward. I ask for the right of exile. The elder's eyes widened. That right has not been invoked in 3 centuries. Yet it still exists in our laws. If I choose exile among another species and they accept me, I am dead to the Zephyrian people, but free to live as I choose. The humans must formally accept you. We do, Marcus said immediately. The human colony government must ratify this, the elder insisted. Marcus pulled out his communicator and made a quick call to the colony administrator, explaining the situation. Within minutes, he had an official response. Administrator Johnson says any person seeking asylum from persecution is welcome in the human colony, provided they follow human laws and contribute to society in whatever way they can. The elder was silent for a long moment. Very well. Liara Visterin, you are hereby exiled from the Zephyrian people. Your name will be struck from our records. You will never be welcome in our cities again. I understand, Liara said quietly. The elder turned to leave, then paused. Human Marcus Chen, you have shown compassion where we showed none. Perhaps there are things our species could learn from yours. As the Zephyrians departed, Marcus put his hand on Liara's shoulder. You okay? I am free, she said, wonder in her voice. For the first time in my life, I am free. So what now? Alex asked. Liara knelt down to face the boys. Now I learn what it means to be part of a human family if you will have me. Can she stay, Dad? Please? Sam begged. Marcus looked at Liara, really looked at her. In her amber eyes, he saw gratitude, hope, and something else. The same loneliness he'd carried since Sarah's death. Maybe they could help each other heal. Welcome home, Liara. 6 months later, the Chen homestead had expanded by 2 more domes. Liara had proven invaluable, her knowledge of native plants revolutionizing their greenhouse yields. She taught at the colony school, sharing Zephyrian history and language with eager human children. The boys called her Aunt Lai, and she wore the title with pride. One evening, as they watched the binary stars set, Liara turned to Marcus. Your species confuses me. How so? You value individuals not for what they can produce, but for who they are. You saved me not for any benefit to yourself, but because it was right. This is not logical. Marcus smiled. Humanity rarely is. We're messy, emotional, irrational creatures. But sometimes that's our greatest strength. I think I understand now why humans have spread across the galaxy so quickly. You see potential where others see waste. You find family where others see strangers. And you've become family, Lai. The boys adore you. The colony has accepted you. You've found your place. Liara's copper skin shimmered with what Marcus had learned was the Zephyrian equivalent of blushing. I never thought I would find purpose again. Your kindness gave me a second chance at life. Everyone deserves a second chance. As the stars emerged in the darkening sky, the Chen Visterin household settled in for another evening. Alex and Sam practiced their Zephyrian pronunciation while Liara helped them with homework. Marcus prepared dinner, smiling at the sound of laughter filling their home. They were an unusual family, certainly. A widowed human father, 2 energetic boys, and an exiled alien female who'd been left to die in the desert. But they worked. They'd found each other in the vast emptiness of space and created something beautiful from loss and abandonment. And in the greater human colony, word spread of the human who'd saved a condemned Zephyrian and given her sanctuary. It became a symbol of what humanity represented in the galaxy. Compassion without conditions, family beyond blood, and the unwavering belief that every life has value. The Zephyrians in time would come to question their ancient traditions. Some would even seek to change them, inspired by the example of one human farmer who chose kindness over convenience, and an exiled female who found her worth not in what she could produce but in who she chose to become. This was humanity's gift to the galaxy, the radical idea that everyone deserved a chance to live, to love, and to belong.